Testing 1 2. Test 1 2. All right. How you doing, folks? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report for a Thursday, June 24th. Hope you're having yourself a good start to your day. As always, don't forget, subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right-hand corner, or hit the subscribe button below this video if you are watching on a mobile device. It is Thursday. Hopefully, everybody's having themselves a good start to their day. Hopefully, you guys are winning your selections, enjoying the NBA, NHL playoffs. And, yeah, we got a pretty good show lined up here for a Thursday. Getting close to football season. You can feel it in the internet air, I guess you can say, as more and more people are talking about what's coming on the top in the next few months. In fact, next few weeks, the CFL will get going in the preseason, and then you got NFL preseason, and then September rolls around. You got college football, so it's going to be a fun next couple of, it's always fun when you're talking football, right? And in case you are new to the Raymond Report, my name is Ron Raymond. I'm a five-time sports handicapping champion located in Ottawa, Canada, and started in the industry in 1996. My first website that I ever started was phoenixsports.com, the old PST. A lot of people remember that as the PST. And, yeah, you know what? Let's talk about some of the sites that we have here in the PST Gaming Network. In fact, if you go to PST Gaming, you're going to see some of the websites we do have here on our network. The World Series of Handicapping going into season number 10. The Street Catcher is a, you know what? This is a site we started almost 20 years ago. And what you got to do is build your streak. And it's a trademark website. So, yeah, we do have the rights to the Street Catcher. PMX.tips if you like the Parlay Market Exchange. Phoenix Sports, my first ever website. ParlayCalculator.com, another good website where you want to calculate your parties. The Joker's Wild website, it's a horse racing website. This is, if you're into horse racing, the Joker's Wild website. And we also have it here at ATS. HockeyPicks.com, one of my favorites of all time. Heads or Tails, the line movement website. Still got to do a bit of work on that, but we'll bump it up in our priority list. Our new website, if you go to Hail Mary and Bullpen Picks, Hail Mary Picks, and hopefully we'll throw a few Hail Marys this year and then cash in on some winning. Fadoho.com, favorite dog and a horse. You pick a favorite dog and a horse at Fadoho.com, and if you do win all three, you can win a sports betting account with our sponsor. bballpicks.com, just like Bullpen and Hockey Picks, really good website. ATS Stats, which is our main site, and ATScalculator.com, where we, ATS Calculator is a great site where you want to, sometimes you hear people say, okay, well, how do they get the numbers? Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you try the ATS Calculator, it comes very close on nailing the number. In fact, if we look at tonight's game between Phoenix and the Clippers, let's take a look at this right now. So let's take a look at Phoenix, and let's go LA Clippers. And let me get the latest lines that we have on that game. In fact, I'll go to this one right here. Let's see what the latest line is on this game. Obviously, no Kawhi for game number 3, but it looks like Chris Paul might play. So -1 here and 221. And if you look at the ATS calculator, we have the away team 3.24, and look at that, 221.39. So it just goes to show you how accurate the ATS calculator is. And I didn't even check this morning, so I was as they say, I was flying blindly there. Hopefully you guys are having yourself a good day. Again, my name is Ron Raymond, and in 2009 I wrote a book called the Ron Raymond's Top 50 Sports Betting Secrets. In fact, if you go to the website, go to odds, go to Sports Betting Secrets, and you will see each and every day you can purchase this book. Or if you'd like a free copy of the book, shoot me an email. Just go to the website, go to Contact Us, and leave your details, and I will forward you a free copy of my book, Ron Raymond's Top 50 Sports Betting Secrets, which is also listed on Amazon.com. All right. What would you? Well, okay, I'll speak English now. What would you guys like to talk about here today? And what would you like to handicap first? We can go into baseball, NBA, NHL. If you guys are watching online, just shoot me a text in the bullpen, and I'll get to the game you guys would like me to talk about. And before we do that, let's take a look at what's come in Major League Baseball the last couple of days. And let's take a look at this right here. This here is what I call the Sports Betting Index. And the one thing, that I if you are new to the Raymond Report, the one thing I really focus on and my fundamentals of sports betting are value, the percentage play, and performance cycles, right? I like to look at sports through a performance cycles, and you're seeing it right now. The cycles in the playoffs, NHL and the NBA, things go in cycles, things go in momentum. Your best players have to be your best players in the playoffs. In regular season, your best players can have an off night, but you see what happens when your best players in the playoffs have an off night. It costs you a game, and that's what I think what happened last night with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Losing Kucherov early in the contest absolutely crushed Tampa Bay on the power play, because Kucherov is he's the as they say, the spoon that stirs the pot, right? That guy is he's the quarterback of that power play. When Kucherov is on that power play, he's the guy that makes it work, right? And when you don't have your best players, you saw in the NBA last night, Trae Young just went off, right? Your best players have to be your best players. And going back to that 10-80-10 rule of Urban Meyer, 10% of you, if you look at say your football team or your hockey team, 10% of those players, those are your alphas, those are your main players. 80% are your regular Joes, and then the other 10 are your disinterested, right? The 10% that just barely hanging on to the team. But in that 10% club, you need your best players to be your best players. And we saw it last night. Trae Young was the best player on the floor last night for the Atlanta Hawks, and they got that W. And that's what happens when you have a good player who steps up like Trae Young did last night. All right, so looking at the SBI, which stands for the Sports Betting Index. And again, I look at sports betting just like the stock market. I don't think there's, in baseball right now is the only regular season sport going. And when you got playoff hockey and playoff basketball, you got to pick and choose your spot. And I say it all the time, every day is not a Picasso. You can't get that perfect oil painting every day where you think you got everything lined up and you want to make money. You have to have goals. You have to have budgets, and you got to set I call it cash out Monday, right? Are you cashing out on a Monday? And the thing with sports bettors is they don't have a game plan. They don't have a money management plan. And if you don't set goals and you don't set cash out goals, you will never reach and attain your goals of being a sports investor, and you will turn into an action investor. Now, the difference between an action investor and a sports investor, an action investor wants to bet every day, doesn't care if he wins or loses, and if he has to replenish the bank account, he'll do it, or she'll do it. But a sports investor will be wise, will pick his spots or their spots, and really know when is the time to make money, right? And this is why you got to have some type of goals when you're betting in sports, investing in sports, because if you don't set goals to when to cash out, like during the football season, I try to make it one of my rules to cash out on Mondays, because if you don't cash out, then you're just and sometimes you just have a bad week and there's nothing to cash out, right? You're probably cashing in, but putting money back into the account to re-up or something, right? But hopefully you're not having that problem. But you got to set goals, and less is more. One of the best advice I was ever given was just remember that less is more, and that motto can go to anything in life. It doesn't have to be sports betting. It could be in business. But you got to find a way to win a unit. At the end of the day, the game plan is to win money and win a unit, right? And then once you get one unit, then you go for 2 units, and then you keep climbing the ladder until you reach your financial goals. But take it for what it is. Sports betting is just like the stock market. How many? If you're in the stock market, if you're buying, in the stock market, it can drive you nuts if you're investing every day or you're investing in bad stocks. And that's my theory when I'm investing in sports teams. One of my rules is I don't bet on losing teams. That's one of my rules. Is that and you know what? This is a great segue to this to step into this example. You look at last night, the game between the San Francisco Giants and the LA Angels. That's the reason why I don't bet on bad teams, because teams like the LA Angels, who should have won that game. In fact, forget the one of the batters, Max something, Stassi. He swung at twice. It was ball 4, and I have no clue what he was swinging at, but he swung at ball 4 twice. And the LA Angels should have won that game last night. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, and then spilled beans and whatever. But that's what happens when you bet on bad teams. And it's the perfect example why I will not bet on a team with a losing record, just because of that factor. And it has nothing to do with the outcome. Yeah, you want the good outcome. It's just that when you look at the team, they have a record below 500, and you look at the combination of the players, and it's those type of mental mistakes that really cost you in the big picture of things, right? When you look at macro and micro, technology or the systems, in a macro perspective, you're looking at the league. In a micro, I call it by the team, and that team, the LA Angels, the reason why they're below 500 is because of the individual mental mistakes and decisions that players are taking at that at-bat performance. Let me look up his name here before I butcher his name. I know it's Max. I just don't know. See, the thing when you live in the East Coast, every East Coast team player. It's when you get to the West Coast guys, and this is why I'm a bettor, not a fantasy bettor, right? Let me see your depth chart. Let's go to LA Angels. Where is it here? Angels, where's Max? I'll get it here. Did you already get cut? Hey, you already got cut. He's already out. There it is. Max Stassi. Max Stassi. Now, this guy here yesterday was, if you look at the, don't bet on C-type teams. They're terrible for your blood pressure. Exactly. So, Stassi was at the bat. Stassi or Stacy? I think it's Stassi. Max Stassi was at the bat. It was bases loaded, bottom of the 10th or bottom of the 11th, and it was 3-2 pitch, or actually it was a 1-2. It was 3-1. Yeah, it was 3-1 at one point, and he kept swinging at ball 4. They could have, they could have walked in the winning run, and he kept, swinging at high pitches that could have been ball 4 and game over. But that's what happens when you make those players make those type of decisions on bad teams. And exactly, if you had the Giants, congrats. You feel pretty lucky. I even feel worse for the bettors who had the under. That was 1-1 going into the 9th, and it finishes 9-2. Right? That's what you call a bad beat right there. But getting back to my point, when you bet on bad teams, nothing good. You can't expect nothing good to happen, right? Say it all the time. Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. And so if you're new to sports betting and you want one tip, bet on teams that have a winning record. My rule is if you look at the Raymond report, and in fact, let me pull up one of my sheets right here. I'm going to show you the winning percentages of teams that I track. And teams that have a winning record, I wonder if I got it here or it's on the, here it is. I've got to go to the dashboard, and I'll go to my my market index. It's right here for Major League Baseball. So the way I look at teams is I look at teams that are 60% or higher. Those are my A-type teams. Those are my alphas. And my B-type teams, those are teams that are 50 to 59.9% in the standings. And then my C-type teams, those are the Angels, right? The Pittsburgh Pirates, the Baltimore Orioles. Those are the teams that if you bet on bad teams with losing records, you're hoping that good things come out of that, right? But there's a reason why they're only winning 36 or 40% of their games this year, is because they make bad decisions during a game that costs the team, and it's not always the players. It could be like the management, the coach, even the GM. bringing in players that shouldn't be there, right? That's why it's a team effort, and just waiting for this to download. But I see there's people watching in the bullpen. I'd like to welcome you here to the Raymond Report today. So here's where in Major League Baseball, believe it or not, there's only 2 A-type teams with winning percentages of 60% or higher, and that's the team the Angels played yesterday, the San Francisco Giants, and the Houston Astros. Houston, about 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I noticed that they were playing really good, and I've been riding them. If you go look at my picks, and I'll show you in just a second my premium picks. I've been riding the Houston Astros for a while. In fact, let me go to my premium picks, and I'll show you my Houston last night, Houston the night before, right here. I've been riding Houston for a while. Houston right there, Houston right here, Houston right here. So the thing about betting in baseball, and we had a really good chat this morning. I saw somebody posted on the comments, and I'll just bring up that comment. He's saying that baseball is very hard, and it's not a lot of fun. And you're right. Baseball is baseball is one of the toughest sports to win in sports betting, right? Because just like the NFL has week 1, week 2, week 3 every weekend. Every time you have a new series, that's like a new week in the NFL for baseball, right? You get 3-4 game series. That's considered like a weekend in baseball, and then you're on to the next series, right? And during a series, good teams and bad teams, their objective obviously is to win the ball game, but try to win the series. And this is why when I rate my teams in baseball and I look at the top 2 teams right now, those are my A-type teams that I know that if I'm betting on them, I have say if I'm betting on Houston, and no matter who they're playing, I know going into that game, I got a 62% chance of winning today because that's what their record says, right? And it never fails. Every time I go live, and I always have this on Don't Disturb, and it always goes on. All right. So, Houston, 62%. San Francisco, 65%. Everybody kept talking about the Dodgers and Padres. And look at this. Hey, who had San Francisco winning the National League West? I'm sure a couple of people did, probably Giants fans. But San Fran is one of those teams that when it comes to perception versus reality, a lot of the betting public still, it's like last year. We were talking about these teams that fly under the radar, that there's a perception that they're eventually going to start losing, but they never lose. They just keep winning and winning and winning. And when you look at the A-type teams, San Fran and Houston right now, they're one of those teams right now. If you're betting these teams, 65, 62% chance of winning. You're looking at Boston now. Boston, going through, they went through a little bit of a hiccup, but they finally got their act together here. They're 4-3 in their last 7. The Angels are finally starting. The Dodgers. Those are the Dodgers right there. Oakland's been a good team. Chicago White Sox, they're struggling right now. They're 2-5. Now, if you're wondering why these teams are color-coded, so green means they're bullish, yellow means they're neutral, and pink or red here, if you're colorblind like I am. Hey, I know it's pink though. That's because they're bearish right now. So if you look here, this says bearish, neutral, and bullish. And San Diego had a great 3-game series against the Dodgers. They swept them 3-0. They're 7-0 in their last 7 games, so they're bearish right now. Bullish, sorry. You got Cleveland, Milwaukee, Chicago Cubs, the Mets, Yankees, and Seattle. Seattle, if I was to ask you right now, what's Seattle's record? Would you say it's above or below 500? You probably think it's below 500, right? It's because the perception is that one they're not a fair market team where high profile players in a big media market. Toronto 37-35. They are 2 games above 500 right now. They're neutral. And Cincinnati, believe it or not, Cincinnati 36-36. And here are the teams that I call C-type teams. These are teams that I won't trust right now betting on them, right? St. Louis, Angels, Washington. Even though Washington's playing really pretty well right now, they're still a game below 500. Atlanta, this is all management here. How can you have a team stacked with players and the pitching is so-so, but I think management is letting the manager of the Atlanta Braves, his name escapes me right now, but I think that they're doing a poor job. Philadelphia, they're middle relief just like last year, and the relievers are awful. Kansas City, don't know what's going on in KC. They had that great start. Detroit, Minnesota. Same thing. They had a great season last year. I think they burnt out their bullpen at the beginning of the first 2 months of the season. The scrappy Marlins, it's too bad. I really like Miami. It's just I don't know what's going on with them this year. If it's just bad luck. Colorado, Jekyll and Hyde, right? They're Jekyll at home. They hide on the road. Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're a bad team. Texas, Baltimore, and Arizona. Well, Arizona, we won't get into that, right? But that's how I look at the teams that I wager on. And one of my rules is I don't bet on bad teams. And then I'll look at their performance and see where they are in the cycle. And this is why I look at value, the percentage play, and the performance cycles. And also, what I also like to do from a money management point of view, I like to look at the SBI, the Sports Betting Index, and to see what has come in the last week or so in baseball, NBA, or NHL during the regular season, because I find during playoffs it's about momentum, and really the way you win in playoff betting is you almost got to be a contrarian and go again. Like, look at it last night, right? You look at Atlanta against Milwaukee. I would say about 70% of the people, the bettors, were on Milwaukee. 30% are on Atlanta. Those type of situation, that's where you make your money, and that's where you get value, right? The same thing with the Montreal Canadiens and the Vegas Golden Knights. In fact, when I saw that series line come out on the Habs a few weeks ago, I doubled my units because I couldn't believe it that we were getting, and it was almost like a principle, like just betting on principle of knowing that the Montreal Canadiens were, I guess a word you can say is disrespected from the bookmakers by making, it was a crazy like 450, 500 on Vegas. And Vegas, hey, they struggled against Colorado. They lost the first two games of that series, and then they battled back. And to me, I think not that Vegas won that series. I think that Colorado lost it. Again, your best players have to be your best players when it comes go time, right? Remember that old Seinfeld episode there? Hey, when Jerry's weight training at his dad's, it was a Boca Vista or Boca Breeze there in Florida, and the trainer was go time. Well, it's go time, and whenever it's go time, you got to go. Like, you got to get going. Your best players got to be your best players. But looking at baseball right now in the last 7 days, you can see that the underdogs in they've won two of the last 3 days, and it was close last night. 7-6 for the favorites. But if you look at the beginning of the week, June 17th, 6-4 for the favorites, 8-7, 10-5, 10-6, 5-3, 9-6. And the reason why I track this is because it gives me a good indication on my money management on how many units I should be wagering because if I see a night, let me see, where's a good example here? So I look at this, I look at a run like this. Anytime I see the favorites are really popping off like this here, and I know we're in a, just like in the stock market, we're in a bull market, then I might raise my units, right? But then when I start seeing the underdogs start cashing in here, then my risk factor maybe scales down a bit, right? You got 8-7, then you got 2, but you don't know that ahead of time, right? You don't know off an underdog night like this here, 8-7. You don't know that the favorites are going to pop off the next day. And look at that, they went 20 and 11 the last 2 days, right? So anytime you see this type of indicator, I call these indicators, then eventually you can't win forever and you can't lose forever. Then now it's time to start betting underdogs. So after a 2 day of 10-5, 10-6, look at that. The indicators pointed toward the underdogs. Now maybe this was a good time to start betting dogs, and if you did okay if you picked the right dogs, right? So those are the things that I look for when I'm looking at the markets. You have to look at the markets now like the stock market. It's not. You can ask any old-time gambler or bettor. It's not like it used to be. Like the favorites used to win at a higher clip. Parity has changed the game. Ownership has changed. You don't have the great owners that you used to have that were willing to spend the money. Like you look at an owner like George Steinbrenner. He spent money because he wanted to win, right? You look at what else? Jerry Jones. He's spending a lot of money, but I think the decision making there, it could be questionable on some of the money that's spent. But you look at the 80s and 90s and maybe the early 2000s, the owners that had the deep pockets, the Chicago Bulls. Like, you look at all the dynasties, right? And you look at those type of teams. What do they have in common? Deep pockets with good owners that are willing to spend and owners that want to win, right? You get an owner like Al Davis was, and it just wants to win. He had a model, he had a living of that, just win, baby, right? And those type of things. When you have an owner like that, and it starts from the top. When you have an ownership that just wants to win and is competitive, then it's going to be a good. It's going to be good to work for, a guy to work for, or a girl to work for, knowing that the person at the top really wants to win, right? Now, so the SBI, I really keep an eye on this for during the regular season. It's not a really great tool to have for NBA or NHL playoff because limited games, right? You only get 1 or 2 games, and you can't really get a good reading off one night, but you can off, say, a 7-day average or a 1-month average. So I really use the SBI for the regular season. All right, let's take a look at the NBA. We'll take a look at the NBA right now. And we'll see what's going on for tonight. It is June 24th. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching. And again, I'd like to thank everybody watching today on our live show. We are live every Thursday, 1 o'clock. And starting maybe middle of August, we will go Thursdays and Fridays. And we'll talk college football on Thursday. And then we're going to go NFL on Friday. And it'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's take a look at tonight's game between the Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. Now, again, look at the line on here. -1 for Phoenix, the over-under at 221. Forecast has a very tight, look at this, 113.2 to 113.5 favoring the Clippers. Now, looking at the total, it's going to land on 226.73 according to 35 games in the system. Now, we go back to 1996. And looking at my line on this game, excuse me, I had the Clippers at -6.06, but I also had the Phoenix Suns at -5.8. So you're getting really good value here on the Clippers, and you're getting good value on the Suns. And the way I would wager this game here tonight, if you do like the Phoenix Suns, take the money line. Don't even lay the point. Take the money line. Lay the extra $10. And if you do like the Clippers, then take the insurance. Take the +1, and maybe +1.5 if you want to buy a hook. That could be another show on buying points. But, I always, betting on, spread sports, anything that's 3 points or lower, I'll always consider the money line if I really like it. Podcast says 6:14. Oh, crap. Really? Okay. I'll have to fix that. Maybe, let me check here on the, so somebody's telling me, there we go. I don't know if I can edit this in real time if it'll allow me. All right, give it a shot now there. Nobody's perfect. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. See, when you're a one-man show, you don't have the you don't have the A-team behind you to fix all this stuff. But hopefully that, let me go back and check the channel right now. No, now it says 6:12. That's no good. Hey, that's no good right there. Let me see if I don't think it'll allow me to do it in real time. Hang on here. 24. Okay, check that now. Maybe it says 6. All right, there we go. All right, thank you, Nobody's Perfect, for bringing that to my attention, FYI. So, looking at this game here, we're talking about buying points. Hey, let's go right to the fundamentals of handicapping, right, in the playoffs. Number one, if you're watching this or you're handicapping this game right now between the Suns and the Clippers, the first question you got to ask yourself is this. What's the perception and what's the reality of this matchup, right? Is the perception that the Suns are getting Chris Paul back tonight probably, and the Clippers not getting Kawhi? Does that really affect the line, right? And if you look at last game, the Suns were 4.5-point favorite, and now they go back to LA, and now they're a 1-point favorite. So they're a 3-point difference. So is Chris Paul really a 3-point difference in this game, right? He's a great player. I think he's one of great leader. When you look, he's the NBA president, Player Association. I think the world of the guy. I think he's a good leader, and you can always tell by the body language on the floor and how other players react to him, right? It's one thing in sports that I always look for is body language, right? What's the body language of the players? Not only between the rapport between the coach and the relationship between the coach and the players, but the players and the players, the officials to an extent, are they always like showing body language of whining and stuff like that? That's very important, because it tells you what type of player, winners win. At the end of the day, nobody wants to be on a team with a whiner. And don't get me into the Nick Nurse thing right now. Hey, Raptor fan, we don't want to go there right now with the Nick Nurse whining all the time. That to me drives me absolutely crazy as a coach. I coach football, and when I see coaches constantly whining, I just think it's a lack of leadership, a lack of experience. It's okay to pop off once in a while, but you can't do it every game, right? That stuff gets old. All right. So if you have any question, guys, go ahead, shoot it in the bullpen, and I'll reply to you guys. But coming back to this game, now let's go to our fundamentals. The perception versus reality, right? The perception is Phoenix is up 2-0. Are they going to sweep? How is the Clippers going to react? Losing 2, and the way they lost the last game, right? That could have went either way. That was a game where the Clippers should have won. Ayton just came in and they made a nice play. They threw in the ball at the basket, and I thought the ball was going in anyways. But and he made a nice play, and those type of plays, you don't just draw that out. That's scripted, and that's probably practiced 20 times. In practice just to get the timing right. Those are timing plays. And let's be honest, this series could be 1-1. Now, going to tonight's game, now the LA Clippers at home this year, including playoffs, are 30-13 on the season, 26-17 against the number. And when you look at Phoenix on the road this year, 28-13, 23-17-1 against the number. But, and that's a big but, look at their record at the Staples Centers against the Clippers in the last 10 games. 1-9 straight up and against the number, and the under is 3-7-0. And let's from a reality point of view, the reality is Clippers got to win this game. They don't win this game here tonight, it's good night Irene, and close the lights on the way out, because this could be it could be done in 4 if they lose tonight. So knowing that their backs are up against the wall, and that due factor, I don't really consider it a strong indicator like, oh, they're going to win tonight because it's their due, right? That doesn't exist. Every play is due to succeed, right? Every player that goes into a game, they know the goal is to win the game. So you don't have to tell a professional athlete, our due factor's up, we got to win that game. They know that. And it's all about momentum, and it's just, hey, look at the New York Islanders, right? And speaking of momentum, they go to Tampa Bay in Game 5, they get clobbered 8-0, and then they win last night 3-2, right? So the thing you got to have a short memory in the playoffs is that what happened in Game 2 against Phoenix, coulda, woulda, shoulda won it, but you know what? Let's get back to the next one. This, one of the coaches I used to coach with in football used to say this all the time. The most important play in sports is the next play. The most important game in sports is the next game, and that's the mentality the Clippers have got to take tonight facing Phoenix, is that the most important play is the tip-off. That's the most important play in the short term. Long term, the most important thing is win the game. You got to, this game is the most important thing right now. It's not Kawhi being out. It's not Chris Paul being on the floor. If you're the LA Clippers, the most important thing is to win this game, and whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to win this game, you got to coach them up, coach, and get that W at home. But the good thing is you're facing a team that doesn't have a lot of success in your building. In fact, they're 1-9 in their last 10 straight up and against the number. And when you look at the Suns here in the last 30 days on the road, they've been, anytime you get this far, analytics you can probably throw out the window right now, because again, when it comes to playoff, it's about situational, it's about momentum, and it's about your best players being the best players at game time, and it's part of that 10-80-10 rule, right? So the The LA Clippers, when you look at the game here tonight for the Clippers, their best players have got to be their best players. And when you look at the, I'm just going to bring up something here. So when I look at the lineup here for the Clippers, now obviously, everybody's got to do their part, right? Marcus Morris, he's good with his threes. Last game he had, let me see here, at 7 points in 25 minutes. That's not going to cut it, right? In game number 1, he had 6 points, and then game 7 against, or was it 7 or 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7. Game 7 against Utah, he had 7 points. And then in game 6 and 5, he had 24 and 25. So Marcus Morris, you need the Marcus Morris of game 5 and 6 of the Utah series to show up. And then you look at Phoenix. Phoenix, bend don't break. If it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So so Phoenix is having a good run right now. But the thing with Phoenix is they can't take the foot off the gas pedal, right? You can't take the foot off the gas pedal. You got your opponent down 0-2. It's game 3, and you got to have your best game. Now, you do have leadership with the Clippers. You got Rajon Rondo there. Terrence Mann has been outstanding. So those are your players that got to show up tonight, right? Terrence Mann, without Kawhi in the lineup, the bench has got to play a big role. He's got 8 and 9 points, but he had 39 points in Game 7. So, but you can't expect that from a bench player, right? So looking at tonight's lineup for the you got Beverly, Jackson, Paul George, Marcus Morris, and Ivica Zubac. So I'm going to go with, I do like the Clippers here tonight. I've already played them at bballpicks.com, and it's not a huge play, but it's a small lean on the Clippers +1. And and look at this. At home this year against teams that are 60% or higher in the standings, 12-4 straight up, 12-4 against the number. And I think they got a pretty good record coming off a loss at home too. What's their record? Oh, no, okay, it's not that one. 8-7, 3-1 coming off a road underdog, loss as an underdog. So, so I'm still going to, analytics aside, I'm going to go with LA here tonight. And that's my play here tonight at bballpicks.com. All right, let's take a look at the NHL. We'll go to game number 6 at the Bell Center. I'm not sure how many fans they're going to allow in tonight. I know it was 3,500 last game, but I know the restrictions in Quebec have been lifted a bit. So there might be maybe 5,000 fans tonight, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure. If you guys know in the audience, let me know. Now, let's go back to the old perception versus reality card, right? When you look at this game here tonight between Vegas and Montreal, and I said this in a video a couple of days ago, your best players have got to be your best players, and right now, Stone has just been missing in action, and you can't have your best players not show up on game day, right? So when I look at Mark Stone's last couple of games, he's got 0 points in this series. And this is he's one of your top scorers. You can't have your top players have 0 points in a series because you can't win hockey games that way. Pacioretty finally got on the board last game. He finally got his first goal of the series. He's got 3 points so far. But, the goaltending situation that Peter DeBoer has done with is Leonard starting tonight? That's ridiculous. So this tells me this reminds me of the like the Steve Spurrier quarterback rotation. Remember Steve Spurrier when he was at Florida? He would play Jesse Palmer, and then he'd go to Doug Johnson, and then he'd always flip flop. You can't be doing that stuff with goalies in the playoffs unless the goalie lost his confidence. Like a good example is you look at Quenneville when they played Tampa Bay. And you look at the starting goaltender for Florida. His name escapes me right now. What the hell is his name? Florida. Let me go to Florida. You can tell I'm not a fantasy guy, right? Hey, I'm a sports bettor. Let me see here. All right, so Bobrovsky, that's it. So Bobrovsky totally lost his confidence, right? You look at that, and he lost his confidence, and then he goes to the backup, and he brings in Chris Dreger, and Dreger, he's a career backup, right? He had a good season, but as a backup, and this, anybody who's played sports in either football or hockey, when you're the backup, you're mentally prepared to come in to either mop up or finish off, right? When you're a backup and you're told to start, it's totally different. It's just for some reason, anytime you get the it's so easy for a backup to come in the middle of a game. There's no pressure. You're probably coming in when it's 4-0, and team makes a comeback 4-3, tie it up 4-4, go win. You look like the hero, right? But when you're the starter and you lost your confidence, that's not a good thing. And what I'm seeing with the Boers doing right now with Leonard and Fleury, that's not a good thing. You can't be juggling your goalies like that, because you're sending a message that you really don't know what to do. And then the goalies are there saying, why do I got to bail you out? You didn't think I was good enough to start Game 5. Now you want me to bail you out in Game 6, and vice versa with the other goalie, right? So that's a tough. The thing that I think the Boers should have did in Game 5 is that when he started Leonard in Game 4, you made a decision. That's the guy that you had to ride the whole way. The only time you take him out is when he pooped the bed. But by going to Fleury, to me, I just don't. I really don't know what. I question that call, because look what happens now. Now, if you're going back to Leonard, that just hey, you could win the game tonight. Like, Vegas could win the game, but from a coaching perspective and fundamentals of coaching and the team psyche and the chemistry of the team, I'm sure they're looking at each other going, "What are we doing? Why are we going back to Leonard when we put Flower back last game? Now we're going." It's just flip-flopping like that. It makes no sense to me. All right, I got some people talking here, so let me just see what you guys are saying. I'm sure it's perfect. Thanks for asking. Practice. Leonard starting tonight. Marchessault, and I really like Marchessault. I've played some fantasy, some DraftKings this year, and Marchessault was really good during the regular season for me on some of the value, like 3,000 type thing. But the top players. Here's the thing. In right now in Vegas, when your fourth line is one of your top lines, you got a problem, right? And if you look at Montreal, you're getting the thing I love about Montreal right now is every night there's a new hero, right? Like last game, look at Stahl, the goalie. He picked that top shelf right beside the peanut butter, and that was a beautiful goal. And Corey Perry's been phenomenal the whole series, and like Montreal's all in. You look at the Canadiens. They're not a big team. They're a fast team. Gallagher, he's what, 5'10", maybe 6'1". He's playing like he's 7'6", like he's Chera. The guy's not scared. But the thing with Montreal is you always handicap goaltender out. And right now, Carey Price is outperforming Leonard and Fleury. And the Montreal defense is just they're underrated, underappreciated, and undervalued to an extent where you look at the value you can get. No, they're not undervalued. They've got great value, because if you're betting Montreal tonight at 125, you got great value on a really good defense core, and you're at home. And I think Caulfield, yeah, how did I forget that guy? You know what? I just love the here's Caulfield coming out of Wisconsin, just thrown to the wolves in the playoffs, and he's got a smile that'll light a room. Actually, it'll light up the Bell Center, and he's just having the time of his life. Yeah, if you watch Caulfield play right now, how can you not be excited for that young man, right? You just see him smiling. Like the other game that they scored, was it the winner in overtime or whatever? Anyways, you had all these giants, and there's Caulfield right in the middle with his big smile. It was just awesome. Well, if you're a Vegas fan, you're probably like turning me off right now. But hey, you know what? That's the beauty of playoff sports, right? You can when you're winning, you're laughing. When you're losing, you're crying. But have you ever seen so playoff hockey this year has been phenomenal. It's been absolute good hockey. For some reason, if you're not a big hockey fan, the one thing I encourage you to do is watch playoff hockey, and you'll be a fan in about 10 minutes, because playoff hockey is exciting. It's even better if you're there in person, especially with a crowd like the other night. Trickles throughout the squad. Hey, young guns and energized. Suzuki's been good too. You know what? Suzuki, he's really stepped up his game. Suzuki's been fantastic too. But wait, when you're winning, everything's great, right? When you're winning, but when you're losing, you're trying to find answers, and that's what Vegas is doing right now. Now the bookmakers have made the Golden Knights a 147 chalk here tonight. The over-under at 5.5. Forecast going to lean with the Golden Knights here tonight. 3.02 to 2.6. The over-under at 5.68. But again, as I say in all these videos that I do, when it comes to analytics from the computer pick in the playoffs, I take it with a grain of salt. I use it more towards the total. I use the total 5.6, which seems about right when you look at the goaltending involving Vegas. But if Leonard does start tonight, he had a good game 4, right? But will he be consistent enough? And man, it's just whoever's in nets for Vegas tonight, it's not fair. I don't think you're putting that goalie in a fair position. Win, he's a hero. Losing, you're a goat, right? And just like I think DeBoer putting him there I don't get it. I just don't. Why would you do that to your best players, right? So looking at the history of these teams, 7-3 in their last 10 games. So you can see that Montreal has owned the Golden Knights in their last 10. In fact, let me see here. I thought I had the overall record. What's the overall record? I'll have to bring that up in a second. Let me take a look at Montreal's record at home. 4-2 in the last 30 days. Yeah, so you know what? From an analytical, nothing. There's really nothing here that's going to sway me. I still, I've been on Montreal every game. I don't think I've taken Vegas one. I don't want to pay the price of 147, and number 2, I don't want to go against Carey Price. The one thing you got to ask yourself, and here's the thing, right? Perception versus reality. What's the perception of tonight's game? The perception of tonight's game, obviously, Vegas is going to come out in the first period desperate. They're going to come out desperate. They're going to have to be using their size. If there's one advantage that Vegas has over Montreal, is they got the bigger size players, right? You look at the third and fourth line for Vegas, they can wear you down. You get a good hit. And the one thing, if Vegas comes out in the first 5 to 10 minutes and lay the smackdown and just get that that big one hit that just from a psychology point of view just makes everybody go from 6'5" to 5'4", those type of hits. That's what Vegas needs to do, because right now Vegas is not scoring on a consistent basis. In fact, if you look at Vegas' last 3 games, 1.67 goals for. The goaltending, you can't fault the goaltending right now in Vegas. It's not the goaltending. Maybe the coaching. You got to look at the coaching, right? And the top players, Pacioretty, Stone, Marchessault, they're not showing that they are playoff guys. There's a difference between a regular season player and a playoff player, and that's why Corey Perry during the regular season, you probably don't see him, but in the playoffs, you see a lot of him, right? And Stahl, was nice to see Stahl finally have a decent game. Still too many turnovers for Stahl, but going in tonight, Montreal plus 1.5, plus 125, I think is good value on the Habs. And hey, tomorrow night you got Game 7. That's going to be a fantastic game between the Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I got a futures ticket on the Tampa Bay, so I'll have to see what the number is. I don't think I'm going to hedge. I really think that Tampa Bay, don't like to use the word should, because you never know what's going to happen in hockey, but that's why you got to play Game 7. Yeah, I think tomorrow night, Game 7 between Tampa Bay and the New York Islanders is going to be a great game. I can't wait to see that one. But I hope Kucherov's going to be in the lineup, because without Kucherov, now you're hurting your power play. And also, Tampa Bay is starting to get a bit banged up, right? They lost. Let me see here. Who else was Chernak? Yeah, Chernak wasn't in the lineup last night. He's day to day. And we'll see who they bring into the lineup, right? So hopefully they didn't lose Kucherov, because they will really need him down the stretch. All right, let's take a look at Major League Baseball. Hey, there's Isaiah. Hey, Isaiah, you're killing it right now at bullpenpicks.com, eh? So before I do the handicapping for baseball, let me go to I had a Ron, do you live bet? Nope, I don't do any live bet. Live betting, and you know what? I've talked to some guys, and they bring great points. It's live betting is I've never done it. I've never tried it, but some of the guys I've talked to said it's a good way to, maybe if you're losing your bet, it's a good way to recoup some of that money back. You might not get it all back, but it's probably a good way. But it's just, to me, the question is this: when is enough? Because you start doing live betting, then you're doing live props, and then you're doing fantasy sports, and then it's just there has to be a time. And are you an action investor or a sports investor, right? And it's and again, if there's a way to make money, I know that people, the human race will always find a way to make money if it's live betting, because people are just dedicated, and when you're dedicated to make money, and if there's a way to make money in sports betting, people will do it. But I would love to hear from you guys, man. Maybe I need to do like a Zoom with professional bettors to see what type of angle do you guys use in live betting that you make money with. I would love to hear some of your rationale, some of your theories, some of your strategies on live betting. And who asked me that? Nobody's perfect, right? Do you do what's your angle? Nobody's perfect when you do live betting. I love live betting as long as you're disciplined. All right. So Isaiah, you do live betting. What do you live bet with? Like, is it at bats? Like, do you do per at bat, or is it per inning? Second half? Like, what exactly do you do live betting with? And again, maybe it's because I'm not, not into it. Like, I'm strictly, the way I bet is sides or totals and futures, right? Less is more. That's the way I approach things. But I would love to hear what you guys do with live bet. And I'll dabble into fantasy sports, because the one thing fantasy sports will allow you to do is to be more in tune with players. And if there's one weakness I have, and you guys, you see it all the time on these shows, I'm not the and because I do a lot of sports, I do every sports except no, I probably do everything when it comes to handicapping, but I'm not 100% in tune with all the players' names, right? I'll know, like, when it comes to hockey, sure, I'll know a lot of the 90% of all the hockey players. Baseball, I'll know about 60 to 65% of every player on the positions. Basketball, maybe 50-50 when it comes to the players. But again, when you're betting on sports, you don't need to know the players. You just need to know the number, and you got to beat the number. And that's what the goal of sports betting is, right? You're trying to beat the bookmaker's number, but if the more you know about the players, the even better. Try to, and I'll tell you one thing. I'm not going to try to learn every player in college football, because it just, I'm not Phil Steele. Speaking of Phil Steele, if you guys get his, I don't mind plugging his book. If you guys are serious college football bettors, go to Phil Steele's website. Just Google Phil Steele college football. His magazine is out. I think the printable version is, or the download version is out. The digital version. Man, if you guys if you're a serious college football bettor, that's the magazine you want to get, is the Phil Steele college football one, right? All right, so Nobody Perfect says in hockey games, he bets totals, second period, especially third period, goalie out. Oh, yeah. And you know what? That's interesting. So Nobody's Perfect. When you're betting third period, are you betting more overs, obviously, because you think that, the more empty nets at the end? And Isaiah says right now, this deep in postseason, you're seeing a lot of back and forth runs in NBA competitive games. Live betting is great for that. Okay, yeah. You know what? And the thing I'm finding with the NBA is the perception versus reality, right? The perception is you think Milwaukee, the favorites are always going to win, but it's been underdogs. Underdogs have been really doing well. Let me see. Frank says, after doing DD on a team, I love bet the favorite team if they're down. Works great in basketball. After doing DD, what do you mean by DD, Frank? Double dogs on a team, or double digits? After doing double DD, I think you mean by double digits, right? Live bet total, says Frank, after the game starts. Live bet totals after a game starts. If you like the over, if no one scores early, get over odds on over. Okay. All right. So I know. So yeah, you know what? And it's a good way to keep keep your attention on the game. If you guys are like me, one of my biggest issues is when I'm watching the game, and I gotta find a way to put the phone or the laptop down. Are you guys like this too? You'll be watching the game, and then you'll be surfing on your laptop, or you're checking the score on your phone, and next thing you know, you missed about 3 plays or 4 batters, right? And it's just the concentration, and this is what I mean by less is more. When you got too much on the go, the focus can just, and my focus, you guys seen these shows, my focus, like, oh, shiny thing in the corner, it's it can be challenging at times, right? And especially when you got a lot of stuff on your mind, like business and things, always thinking about angles and situational handicapping. It doesn't take much to throw you off during the game, right? But yeah, no, the discipline is a big thing. And Frank says due diligence, absolutely due diligence. Research the games and trends first and find better lines during the play, right? Always. Okay, so I wanted to show bullpen picks. Isaiah, so everybody sees Isaiah right here. He's Isaiah Eisen 502 here. He's absolutely crushing it right now on bullpenpicks.com. I don't know, every time I do the pop-up, you guys can't see that. So I had a good, interesting conversation with Sniper this morning. So Underdog Sniper, we talked for about an hour, and he made a good point on people are using strategy on getting their score up at bullpenpicks.com, right? And the thing, and I'll use a couple of minutes and I'll go to my picks today in Major League Baseball. Using strategy in betting sports, right? And even the strategy at bullpenpicks.com. The one thing that I think people, the approach they take at bullpenpicks.com, DD means due diligence. Okay, awesome. I'm not too, hey, these Twitter abbreviation handles, I'm not too sharp on. I got to improve that. Strategy. Okay, see how quick I can get distracted? Strategy. When you have a strategy here at bullpenpicks.com, a lot of people come here and they think it's all about, like a contest, right? And I think that's the wrong approach. Obviously, if you're the top scorer or top picker, it's always nice to be on those pages. But the incentive and the goal of bullpenpicks.com when I built all these websites was to it was like a backup plan. Like when you do your picks and you feel good about your picks, and then you go to your following page and you see that your selections, and I'll give you a good example, like all the picks. So where's my buddy Eddie O from Montreal in the bullpen there? I don't want Eddie O to get upset, but I kicked Eddie O off my page this morning. And this is what I mean about strategy is you can be you can have friends on bullpen picks or hockey picks, but if your friends suck, you got to get them off the roster, because at the end of the day, you're only as good as the people you're following, right? And if the people you are following it's like my A, B, and C type things, records, right? In the Raymond report. If guys aren't carrying their weight and they're losing, why would you follow people who have losing picks? And the beauty about this website, and the format, we took it from Hockey Picks, which I own, and I brought every other site and every sports has their own domain. So bullpen for baseball, Hail Mary for football, B-ball for basketball. But the concept of all these sites, everything is well thought out, and it's all short term. And if you're having a bad day, no one's going to know, because the way we designed this website, no one will ever see your record if you are having a bad streak. If you're like 5-25 in your last 30, no one's going to know except you when you go look at your following page, right? Oh no, Eddie O sucks. Hey, yeah, no, I'm just gonna get Eddie O. Because if you look at Eddie O right now, Eddie's Eddie's one of the best pickers here. But at 583, in order to make my team, you got to be at 600. In fact, let me check his record. Maybe I'm not. So 23, 31, so 18, so 18, 41, 49. So he's hitting about 50%, right? But yeah, you want to have people that are winning when you're looking at your selections, right? So the way I built this website was that it's based on not displaying if you're having a bad record. No, we protect you in that, the ego or the pride, if that you want to go that angle, because a lot of people, if they lose, they leave because they don't want people to know they're losing, right? And I get it. I absolutely get it. It's just, but when you're winning, how much the dopamines kick in higher, right? When you're winning. Winning is much better than losing, especially and when you're winning for money, right? Now, the way we built this website, we track your last 100 picks. It's all the old Janet Jackson song, right? What have you done for me lately? And if you go to the top pickers, the top scorers, the most followed, the hottest pickers, and the hottest pickers are people that have a record of 70% or higher. Look at that. In baseball, no one's hitting 70% right now. So it's really tough to win in baseball, and I said that many times. Now let's go back to the following page. These are the players that I'm following right now because they're winning. And the thing is, it's like when you go to the craps table, right? You want to follow the hot hand, and we follow and unfollow according to current stats. Exactly, Isaiah, you nailed it. He says he follows and unfollows according to the current stats, and that's what I do too. Because if someone is hot, that's who I want to back my backup plan. Because my main plan, my primary plan, is I have confidence in my picks, but it just makes me feel better knowing that the people that I'm following have the same pick as me. So let's say, for instance, I look at my selections here. We're all on the Dodgers. We're all on the... Okay, now look at this. Yankees and KC. Now, Isaiah's on KC. Michael B. Evans here. Evans MB. He's on KC. There's Justin. MLB game picks. He's on the Yankees. So of the people I'm following, 2 of them are on KC. So that made me think twice on to say, okay, maybe instead of betting 5 units on the Yankees or whatever, maybe I only bet 1 unit because the people I respect and follow have an opinion on the other side. So maybe they know something I don't, and maybe it's a good time to lay off just a bit of my action. Now, I'll be honest, it works the other way too. When I see we're all on the same team, that scares me. I'd rather see, 5 of us on the A's and 1 on the other side on Texas, right? Because that tells me we're somebody's bucking the trend, going against the system, or maybe they know something we don't know, and it's just I don't want us all leading off the bridge, knowing that we're all on the A's, right? So we're all on Oakland, we're all on the Toronto Blue Jays. But the thing I really look at, guys, is I look at your confidence level. Is your confidence level just that, is it 51, 52? From 51 to 54, if you notice when you do your picks, there's a slider, and it's 51 to 54. If I see your confidence level is at 51 to 54, that just tells me that you're just flipping a quarter, and that you're only making that pick because the system tells you I have to make a pick, and otherwise it won't save my play. So if you're forcing me to make a pick, bullpen, all right, here's who I got. Here's who I'll take, gun to head type situation, right? If you have 55 to 62%, that means you're somewhat confident on it. If it's 63 to 72, you feel good about it. And if it's 73 to 100%, that's your lock, right? I didn't say that. I didn't say the L word. I just broke my own rule. I just said the L word on there. And, hey, I'll have to find some type of punishment for that, eh? That's one of the things here at the Rain Report. We never talk about the L word, and I just used it there. So I apologize for that to the bullpen, hey, the loyal listeners in the bullpen. But again, if you have a 73 to 100%, that means you really like that pick a lot. That means that's probably your best play of the day, right? So look at that. See, this is a good one here. Look at this. Everybody's on Cincinnati. All the people that I respect and follow, except for me, but it's not a huge play. And the reason why I think I did is because I didn't like Cincinnati. I think it was their record against left-handed pitch. Is it a lefty here? Anyway, let me go to the... I'll tell you why. There was something I saw here this morning on the Rain Report, why I went with Atlanta. And let me bring up this... all right, let me see here. Why did I take Atlanta again? There was something that I saw that took me off the game here. Let me see here. 3-0 off of a 4-game road trip. 5-8. 5-4. Let me see here. There was 6-7, 1-2. Maybe it was Cincinnati. 0-4. No, it's not. I don't care about that. There was something on Cincinnati that I saw that I didn't really like. Man, I can't find it right now. Maybe it was the pitching. Yeah, I think it was the pitching. 5-4 versus lefties. So Atlanta was 5-4. And you know what? I think it was mostly value. I think the reason why I took the Atlanta Braves a bit of a value selection. The percentage played really didn't come into play here, but I do like Atlanta here today. I thought I saw something here this morning. I can't really pinpoint it right now, but maybe I'll come back to it. Let me take one other look. There was something that I saw. Maybe it was the pitching. Anyways, all right. But I do like Atlanta. I do like Atlanta here today. And look at all the confidence level. Everybody else too. Like everybody's on Cincinnati, but they don't love Cincinnati. Like 54, 54, 51. Justin here 56. So sometimes and sometimes when you're betting baseball and when I look at the way I handicap is I'll look at the starting pitcher's last 3 games ERA, and if I see there's a pitcher that's in the zone and the team is not that good, I'll put the more emphasis on the starting pitching in the last 3 games. I like to look at the WHIP. I like to look at the ERA, and if the team wins behind that pitcher, right? Because sometimes you got the pitcher's winning record, and sometimes a lot of these pitchers like Walker Buehler who don't get decisions, right? But when he starts, the team just wins because he puts the team in the starting position to win, right? And that's why Atlanta today, value play, mostly a value play. Houston, anytime you get a team that's hot like Houston right now, you just hang on the rope, get on the bus. Washington, same situation. Miami, who they got going here today? Miami, Poteet and Joe Ross. But, the Washington now on a 3-game win streak. So not a strong play, 52%, mostly value. I do like Boston here with Pivetta going here tonight for the Boston Red Sox. I just think, Tampa Bay is a good team. They're just stuck right now. They're just stuck in neutral. They got the win last night, but I'm still not buying them yet. I took Cleveland. I know Minnesota fool's gold right now on the Twins. I just think be careful what you're not getting Minnesota from 2020. You're getting Minnesota from 2021, right? And when you look at the Cleveland, let me see here. I think this one here. Let me go to this Cleveland game. I'm going to show you. And I'll get back to my strategy argument with you guys. And just looking at some of your Ronald said the L word. I said it all. Yeah. Hey. Only Sniper and Gary A calls me Ronald. Speaking of Gary A, he's probably fishing today. Hey. He's got North Bay. All right. There's Cleveland. So let's take a look at Cleveland right here. I thought I saw something. 4-1 coming off a loss in Game 2 of a series. 5-1 coming off a loss as a road underdog. So when they're coming off a road loss as a dog, Cleveland is 5-1 in their next game. 12-7 coming off a loss. Let me see, Minnesota. Minnesota is just not. Hey, what's going on with your Twinkies there, Isaiah? 3-8 against lefties. No value on the Twins, says Isaiah. No value for sure. Yeah, so they don't hit lefties well. 3-8 at home. 3-8 at home this season. So, I took the better team here. I took Cleveland, and I took a flyer. This game here had me flip-flopping a bit, but I just went with the Pittsburgh's. What got me off the Pirates was their road record. You look at Pittsburgh Pirates on the road this year, absolutely disgusting. Hey, disgusting. That's probably a good word to use right here. Look at Pittsburgh's road record, 10-25. Only Colorado's probably worse. 10-25, and you look at some of the stats on the Bucks. 0-7 in the month of June on the road. 10-25 as a road underdog. They're 8-19 coming off a loss. Yeah, 1-11 versus a team that has a 41 to 50% win percentage. 5-17 versus right-handed pitchers. There's no way I could. You know what? In the St. Louis, they had a good, very streaky, right? St. Louis had a pretty good run, but then they're back to being back to a C-type team, 36-38. They were a winning team for a while, but then they're just back to being awful again. And they're 4-6 in the last 10. Pittsburgh. Now Pittsburgh, taking a look at their series, they played the White Sox pretty tough, 6-3 win, and then a 4-3 took everything to close that game by Hendricks. But yeah, so back to bullpenpicks.com. And again, we had a good discussion this morning, me and Underdog. But the thing is, if you're using bullpen picks, hockey picks, B-ball just as a contest site, then I think you're really you're not going to benefit everything from using this site. As soon as you start using bullpen picks as a tool to make money, and you start building your bullpen, your roster, no pun intended, you're building your bullpen, right, of roster of other good pickers, and you just have 1 or 2 picks a day, you will see a big difference. And if you start betting on teams with winning records, and you follow the guys here, so let me give you an example on the teams that I would probably bet on today, knowing that I'll do it live on air with the guys I respect. So am I going to spend $225 on the Dodgers? No. Next. So the Yankees are already gone, 185. So Oakland, it's a 205. So that game's already started, so we're not touching that. Toronto Blue Jays. Now the Blue Jays are playing at 707. Now we all like Toronto, and I see some of the guys I follow really like him a lot. 65, 67, 60. I'm at 53. I'm at 53 because I know, prior to that Miami Marlins series, they were struggling. The bullpen is still not. You got a new starter tonight in Anthony Kay. He's not, and then you got Kremer. Kremer's not that good, but I just don't like the price tag on the Blue Jays. If this was like minus 140, then I'd probably, be a 3-unit play. But because of the guys I respect, and I like the Blue Jays, I don't love the Blue Jays, I probably will put 1 unit on Toronto, maybe, but it's still expensive at 172. Atlanta, so I can see everybody's on the other side. So that probably talks me off that. Houston at 215 is just too much. Washington, I won't bet on a bad team. 1 game below 500. Now Boston. See, I do like Boston here tonight, and so do a couple of the guys that I follow. So Isaiah likes him. Musk likes him. Mike Ovens MB. Michael likes him here. So I think Boston might be my top play tonight. Just the fact that a lot of the guys that I'm following are on the same page as me. And Cleveland, let me see here. Cleveland, plus 163. Just from principle of, when you look at the price, you're seeing Cleveland at plus 163. And, the only reason why Minnesota's minus 182 is because of Barrios, right? Jose Barrios going for the Twins, but they're still the Twins. And they're still having a really bad season. So I think Cleveland, Boston, and maybe the Blue Jays would probably be my top 3 plays tonight, with Boston being number 1, Cleveland number 2, and then Toronto number 3. So I'd probably play 5 units on Boston, 3 units on Cleveland, and maybe 1 unit on Toronto, or make it my free play, right? No Romanow tonight either. Yeah, no Romanow. He went last night, so is he resting today? Or is he injured? Do you know that bullpen? Nobody's perfect. So I know he pitched last night. He got the surprise Vladdy. One thing, if you guys watch the Toronto Blue Jays and you watch Vladimir Guerrero Jr. play, he's phenomenal. He's a lot like Caulfield, right? He'll lighten the room with a smile. He looks like a great guy. He looks like a guy you love to hang with. But if I'm the manager, I'm saying, Vladdy, you got to stop talking to people on first base. Like last night, he's on first base, not as a first baseman, as a runner. And with the Anguiar for the Marlins, I'm sure Anguiar, a veteran like him, saying, you know what, I'll just keep talking to Vladdy and I'll keep him on first base and then, get him distracted so this way he's not thinking of stealing. Well, I don't think Vladdy's stealing, but, it's just, if I'm the manager and I'm saying, Vladdy, pay attention. I just got these at times where I look at Guerrero during the Blue Jay game. I'm from Canada, so I watch a lot of the Blue Jay games. I just think this Vladdy's, because he's so nice and he talks to everybody, I think eventually the managers are going to tell him, look, you got to start paying attention here. I think you're just chatting too much. This is not this is not the men's league there at the RA that you're playing there, Vladdy. You're getting paid millions here. So anyway, something that I've noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed that as well with Vladdy. Just loves, he's a real chatterbox out there. But yeah, so bullpenpicks.com, guys. If you are new to the website, I'm telling you, it's one of the best tools in the industry to have for resources. You can have your stat sites, you can have the other resources and tools, but I think if you're looking for the exclamation mark, and when you're about to make your plays, you just go to bullpen. You look at the top scorers, the top pickers, follow the best, And the one way to do it, and here's another good way to do it. Go to Top Scouts, and this is why I say this system is based to help you. And it's 20 years. Like I've been doing this 25 years now. And I've had the Hockey Pick site for 20 years. So the mechanics and the operational system has been all thought out. And when the Top Scouts, what it does, it whoever you're following gives you a point, like a grade point. We call it a rink rat, and it tells you what the people you're following, what their score is, and it gives you an average. So if I look at a guy like Rossi here, Chris Rocco, he's following the top pickers right now. He's following Michael Evans, Isaiah, Nicky Batts, Mags, Ed, and me. So we all see all the scores we have. So I'm sure, the Rossi 1200 here, 12,000. He's following those guys, and he's making his selection based on the consensus of the people he's following. Just like me, right? 730. I'm following only certain people. And this is why I say, if you have friends and your friends suck, they're not helping you. They're hurting you, right? But it all depends if you're using the site to have fun with your buddies, then you go for it. Right on. That's what it's also meant for that too. But if you're here to make money, and sometimes in business there is no friends in business, right? It's about when you're betting money, it's about making money, and I think that's one of the best things. In live betting is best to know metrics and watch the game and the team that's playing the most analytically sound to follow. Demetrius says that. You know what? That's a great post, Demetrius. Now the thing I would love to ask you is this: when obviously I think you do in live betting. Do you have what are your resources that you use to make a wise decision during a game, that when you're betting that you feel, okay, you know what, here's bottom line, why are you taking that play during in live betting, right? You got to have some type of strategy, rationale behind your play. And so Eddie O. Oh, is Eddie O in the house? Hey? Eddie O. Oh no, Eddie O. Where's Eddie O there? Nobody's perfect. Is he in the house here? Hey? Poor Eddie O. I had to drop him from my roster. He'll probably send me an email later. Don't worry, he'll be back. No, Eddie O, if anybody knows Eddie O, he had a great streak. Hey, you know what? Speaking of streaks, man, it's a good thing I talked about this. Where's the website here? Let me go to Streak Catcher. Plant-Based. Hey, our friend Plant-Based here. Plant-Based Junkies on an 8-game win streak. In fact, I took his pick last night, and I took the over as well. And so here's another website. So let me just bring this over here. So log in. Oops. Okay, let me do this. What's going on here? Oh, maybe I'm already logged in. Hang on here. All right, there you go. All right. So streetcatcher.com. Now, this is another great site. Because it's about finding winners, right? And the thing is, look at Plant-Based. If I look at his last 8 picks, so he's on an 8-game win streak. So he won last night. He had the Bucks over. He had Tampa Bay Islanders over, Phoenix Suns, Milwaukee. So we'll see who he has going next. But this is another good website to see and follow. The one thing in sports betting is always about riding the hot hand, right? If you can find the player that has the hot hand, Eddie O is a great handicapper. Yeah, I agree, Isaiah. So Eddie O down here, if he's the second leading top 10 all-time scorer. In fact, here's Eddie O's pick tonight. Eddie O's got the Clippers. He likes the Clippers tonight +1, and that makes me feel good because I like the Clippers too. So when you see a player like Eddie O that you follow on Bullpen or you follow at Street Catcher, you always remember the people that make you money. That's the way it is in life, right? I'm sure you remember where to go to work every day because those are the people that are paying you, right? But in sports betting, people who make you money, or not even people, but systems or tools that make you money. And when you start using Street Catcher as a tool, just like when you start using Bullpen Picks as a tool, you will notice a big percentage of your winning will get better, and you'll start winning on a more consistent basis. But again, the one rule of thumb that I have, I don't bet on teams that have a below 500 record. If you just start doing that, and again, it's like I said to Sniper this morning, it's like the stock market. I'm not going to buy Tesla when it's at $600, $700 all the time. It makes no sense because eventually it's going to lose, right? You don't buy stocks every day, but you got to pick your spots on when to bet and know the difference between an action junkie and a sports investor. And hey, there's nothing wrong being an action junkie. That's why sites like Bullpen exist. So this way, if you're not betting real money and you just want something to scratch that itch, Bullpen Picks is a perfect site, right? Remember, not too many people make a living in sports betting, right? If it was that easy, how many people do you think would be? I see this this perception out there right now that because sports betting is live and it's going to be live in Canada for single game betting, and you're seeing it now in the States. In this industry, in sports betting, it's not as lucrative as you would think it is. It's very tough because, one, the saturation of the market. There's so many people out there now with the DraftKings, FanDuels, MGM. You got your offshore guys, you got the Europe guys, you got your local guys. The market is so saturated right now that there's confusion in the industry, because now you're seeing, and put yourself in a sportsbook place, right? So if you're a new sportsbook in the market and you're new and you're competing with the guys who've been like the Will Hills, who've been around for forever, since sliced bread. You've been around with the offshore guys who've been here now 25, 30 years, and now you're the new guy coming into the market trying to change habits. You're trying to change the habits of gamblers who've been, with their locals, who've been with their legal, sportsbook guys that are probably offshore. Proline, if they're still doing Proline. You're competing with that. You're competing with DraftKings guy. You're competing with fantasy sports guy, NFL contest guy. The market is so saturated that a lot of these sportsbook, what they're doing right now is they're trying to find a niche and they're trying to find an angle on how to really disrupt and take away players from other sportsbook so that, to convert them, right? And it's a very tough gig. And I think what's happening is you're going to see a lot of these synergies that are going to be put together that they're going to have trouble disrupting, because the one thing that people don't like is breaking habits. It's very behavioral, and it's very people don't like change. The one thing, and I talked to this this morning. We had a great chat about this. Humans and creatures, we're creatures of habit. We don't like change, and I know this, and I wish, going back, say I've been in this for 24 years, going back to my PST days, there's some things I wish I would have never done, knowing things that I know now that I wish I knew back then. And the number one thing that I wish I knew back then is that do not change what you start, because when people get used to, a good friend of mine told me once, he goes, when you build a website, build it like all your audience are 12 and 14 years old, because everybody has got to understand it. And then once you build it, don't change it, because as soon as you get people understanding your website, your business, and then you start messing around with things, then you lose them, because then they get frustrated, they get mad, and they leave. And I wish I would have known that 10 years ago when I was doing my trial and error stuff. But, sometimes you don't swing, you don't hit, right? And that's one thing in sports betting. Getting back to the conversation of trying to pick a sports book in a saturated market, it's very tough. It is very tough, because now you're asking players to break up or start a new venture with a new book that they don't know about. And some of these websites, you go like there's this one website, I won't mention the name because I don't want to start throwing guys under the bus or books under the bus, but you log into this website and it takes forever to load, and then you can't find anything in there because you're plastered with all these promotions and these links, and it's very confusing. And I'm a guy who's been doing this 25 years, and I'm confused. And if I'm confused, then the new guy coming in, he has no clue, and he's out the door in about 10 minutes. So if anybody's out there and you're building a sports book or you're building a site, always remember, keep it simple. Less is more. Keep it simple, and don't confuse your audience, because they will go. They will go. Anyways, there's a Ron Raymond rant for a Thursday, a Thursday, June 24th. But yeah, so the one thing, if you are shopping around, and it's okay to have 1 or 2 books, right? It's 3. I've got about 3 or 4 of them, because sometimes I'll get a better line at another sports book, or sometimes one thing I've really noticed in the industry is that some books will not put out futures, where other books they'll keep it up all year. Some books will remove their futures bet right out as soon as the game starts, which I understand. Could implicate some of the futures bet depending on the time of year. But some of the books, they'll leave those futures up for the rest of the year, and some of them don't even post futures because they're just scared of getting hit hard, right? So when you are shopping around for a sports book, always remember less is more. Try to go with a book that's been established, that has a good reputation. Follow up, ask questions, and so it's always good to do reviews on the books that you are, because if you've never heard of the book, just go look it up. There's a lot of sites out there that have reviews. Just go to Google, type in the name of the sports book that you're reviewing, and look it up, and just take a look and see what their history is. See how long. One thing I will suggest, that if you are shopping for a sports book and you're looking for an out, make sure they've been around at least a minimum of 3 years, 3 to 5 years, right? The last thing you want to do is get involved in a sports book that just popped the tent last week, and next thing you know, they get hit by 2-3 sharks and whales, and out the door they go, and you never see your money again, right? So always bet with somebody that's reputable and it's been around a while. And if you are looking for a sports book and you'd like my opinion, shoot me an email, question at the website, and I'll let you know offline. I won't post it online because I don't want to upset some of the people probably that if I do say it on air. And but it's easy to tell if you just go to the website, right? All right, so there you have it, folks. That is the show today for a Thursday, a full Friday, as we say in the business, a full Friday. It's June 24th. Now, folks, I will be doing these shows live every Thursday, 1 o'clock. And then on there'll be college football, and then we'll be talking about the NFL Thursday night, and then we'll get into the Friday games of NFL. So starting August, I think it's about August 20th or something like that. We'll go twice a week. We'll go Thursday and Friday, and in the meantime, I'm just going to go once a week. I find this a lot better because it's like I said last week. If you go every day, trying to keep your audience intact every day and connected, and you find yourself repeating yourself a lot of the stuff. But I find it's like a good show, right? Remember Cheers or Seinfeld? You look forward to it every Thursday, right? So that's what we're doing. We're trying to be the Cheers and Seinfeld of the sports handicapping industry. So this way, you look forward to every Thursday. You know that all the usual suspects will be in the bullpen, and we'll always have a good show, and we'll always bring you some good information. All right, guys, thank you for showing up today. I appreciate you guys coming here in the bullpen each and every day, and you guys rocked. I appreciate that. And if you have any questions, you always contact me at the website or shoot me an email at ronraymond@atsstats.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. For Charlie, who's waiting at the door, I'm Ron Raymond. This was the Raymond Report for Thursday, June 24th. Folks, have yourself a great rest of your day. Shop for value, play those percentages. I'll see you back next Thursday on another Raymond Report. Cheers.